We have all been talking about Charlie Kirk over the past several days, and rightly so, because he was a big public figure who was assassinated, and that whole story is a bucket of worms that I'm not going to get into in this video. I have in several other videos about the assassination, etc., and all of the issues with what the state and the FBI have put out there. But let's talk about the heir to the throne of Turning Point USA, which was Charlie Kirk's multi-million-dollar company that he used to enrich himself and his family by his podcast, his books, and his work on college campuses trying to convert people over to the right wing. And I'm not talking about conservatism. I'm talking about all the way to the extreme right wing. He was very successful at doing that, and he did convince a lot of young white males that they were in threat and in danger, and they were on the verge of extinction if they didn't fight back, like Elon Musk just told a bunch of white supremacists in England just the other day. But let's talk about the heir to the throne. The heir to the throne is a lady named Erica Franzes. Basically, France is her maiden name, or everybody knows her today as Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk has a very interesting past. A lot of people don't know anything about this woman who is now taking over this multi-billion dollar or multi-million dollar franchise in Turning Point USA. She is the widow to Charlie Kirk, the mother of his two children, and if you start digging into her past, there's some very interesting tidbits, and we're going to break all of those down today. First of all, what a lot of people didn't know is that she was actually a beauty queen. She was a Miss Arizona in the Miss USA pageant, which was ran by this guy, the very same guy who made this very creepy face at the funeral of Charlie Kirk while holding her in his arms. But I digress. So there is a connection between those two there. Now, I mean, obviously this could be circumstantial. He owned the pageant. She was a beauty queen in the pageant. No big deal. But if you go a little bit further back, there's some even more interesting tidbits about this lady. And that is the fact that she was in the Young Conservatives movement from a very young age, and she actually started and ran a foundation in Romania for children, particularly young girls. And it was called Romanian Angels. The official title is Everyday Heroes Like You. Now, this was a very short operation. It was only an operation for a little over a year, according to the facts that I can find. What we do know is that the government of Romania shuttered this organization after allegations. Now, those allegations have suddenly just disappeared from the internet and is very difficult to find unless you specifically make the search engine go to Romanian sources. If you just look at English sources, you won't find anything. But if you make it go to Romanian sources, it will find some of these allegations. Next thing you know, the Romanian government is coming in and saying, you've got to close your doors, you're done, get out. Again, if you try to search this on English search engines, you're not going to find anything. But you have to make the search engine, if you're using an AI tool, you have to make it go through Romanian language sources to find it, or you won't find anything. So the allegations is that there's young girls, young, pretty white girls going into this organization, which was supported by organizations in the United States and around the world. Girls come up missing, and next thing you know, a year later, she wins Miss Arizona. She doesn't win Miss USA, but she wins Miss Arizona. So she goes from being a conservative Christian minister, which you should be dressed conservatively in Christianity, not showing off all of your body parts in a bikini, which they make you do in these beauty pageants. To the very next year after this thing being shuttered, she becomes a beauty pageant, walking down the alley or walking down the catwalk in a bikini. exposing her entire body to the world and men like Donald Trump. And then she marries, later on, she gets married to Charlie Kirk, and, you know, she becomes this wholesome Christian example of a woman. So I think it's very funny that Charlie Kirk was always talking about how women are being sexualized and need to be in the home and they need to do this. But then he goes and he marries a beauty queen who willingly allowed herself to be sexualized. Very interesting. So there's a lot more to this story. We're going to keep digging into this story, guys, but we need your support. Make sure that you sign up, subscribe. Listen, subscribe to the Substack because that's where we're going to put all this main information. I literally have to break this video up into parts to post it on other social medias. We also have a big story coming out on the new ownership of TikTok, which is very, very dark and very scary.